Good morning. This is Doreen with ThoughtStorm Journal. I wanted to talk a little bit today about sin. And I first want to say that this is not a sermon. This is talking about the term sin in general. Way back in 2005, renowned spiritual teacher Eckhart Tolle, in his critically acclaimed book, The New Earth, mentioned the word sin. He explained that the word sin actually came from the Greek term used in archery that means to miss the mark, or in essence, miss the point. And for some reason, at the time, this struck me as being pretty profound, and I thought maybe a lot of people might have missed the point of it, because it suggests that missing the point may be the greatest sin of all, since the biblical term used to describe ultimate wrongdoing came from that. And the reason I thought it was so profound only became clear to me over a period of years of sitting back and watching society and the way people behave and interact with each other. I realized that missing the point in our society has become like an art form, and in some cases it's actually been weaponized, and it's used to keep people and groups of people divided. Understand first that relationships are important. They're the most important thing. They're the foundation of our existence, which revolves around the quality of those relationships. And the best way to kill any relationship you have with anyone is to fail to understand them. But what's even worse is to not even try to understand them. It seems that no one even wants to be bothered with understanding anyone else. But what's most disturbing to me in seeing this is that people actually use misunderstanding like a weapon against the other person or the other side. In order to build themselves up into something good and right, they very deliberately misunderstand the other side for the express purpose of making them into something bad. For the most part, people fail to see that everyone's view may actually be right from the place of that person's own perspective, meaning that everyone believes what they believe for a reason, and it may be very reasonable in their world and from their perspective. But that reason may not be obvious to you, so you'll convince yourself that they're just wrong. But you'll base that assumption on your perspective of the matter. But not everyone sees the world the same, so they can't possibly have the same perspective as you. So people hold opinions based on life experiences, social status, their location in the world, and people they surround themselves with. And the circumstances and people in your life may have a completely different mindset. And therefore, when you meet this other person, you both can't agree on things for some reason at all. Your perspectives just don't line up. It's not anyone's fault. You just come from different worlds. But we get caught up in this trap of believing that we have to be right. But what's even worse is that if we are to be right, those other people over there have to be wrong. At least that's what you think. And this is where the problem starts, because if there's any chance those people over there may be right, that means that we might be wrong. And that's something we just can't face. Being wrong is like the worst thing ever, we think. So we have to make those people over there the ones who are wrong. And we'll do this by any means necessary. But the most popular means is to do this by failing to understand their point of view, i.e., missing the point of what they're saying. And we'll twist their perspective around so much that it sounds so completely crazy that other people have to agree with us. Because those other people over there are, well, insane. It's a popular psychological tool used to force people to take your side. And it's done both consciously and unconsciously. We have to do this, because if we even entertain the idea that they may be right and we may be wrong, then we'll have to face ourselves in a very uncomfortable way. Because if we're wrong about this, then there's a chance we may be wrong about any number of things. And it breaks down the foundation we've built our entire life and belief systems on. This is suddenly shattered, and we have nothing, or we think we have nothing, to prop ourselves up with. We'll have to deal with all those negative emotions associated with the idea that what we believed all along has been wrong. And that's a terribly painful and difficult thing to think about. So we often just don't do it. and the argument that stem from it will continue, and we wonder why. If everyone would just believe the way we do, everything would be great, right? In a nutshell, it's convenient and strangely necessary for us to miss the point that another person makes. It ensures us in our minds that we're right and the other person or the other side is wrong. If we make the effort and begin to understand them, then there's no argument. And if there's no argument, there's no battle. And if there's no battle, then we're all peaceful and we all live happily ever after. So this may be a big part of the reason we don't live happily ever after, that is. If we refuse to understand the other side, or heaven forbid, entertain the idea that we may be wrong ourselves, or that we at least may need to look at a situation differently, then we get to believe we're right and we get to keep the battle raging. While all the time we're telling ourselves that we hate war and we wish that wars would stop. But we're perpetuating them by virtue of sin, or missing the point of what's being said. So if failing to understand or missing the point actually starts a war, whether a large global one or a small local one, or if it keeps a battle going and stands in the way of the peace that could happen if we're more understanding of each other and different points of view, does that make missing the point the real ultimate sin?